Coming up in the fine dining world of the 80s and 90s, vegetarian options were rare. Dare I say, non-existent? It was a time that getting a request for a vegetarian dish was seen as an insult to the kitchen. Fast forward and a lot has changed. Vegan and vegetarian diets are now common and have long since proven they are more than just a fad. Most restaurants now happily offers more than one vegan option, and the attitudes in the kitchens are more educated and understanding than before. In the past, I've admitted that I'm from the old school, and I'm proud of my classical French training.
That is a big portion right here.
But I'm also open-minded too.
And everybody says we're hunter-gatherers, you know?
Yeah.
That's how we evolved. No. We were gather-hunters because it's a lot easier to sneak up on a strawberry than it is a bison.
And clearly, I have a lot more to learn. As a chef, I need to stay curious in order to evolve. For me, that means looking beyond a good meal to learn more about who made it and what inspires them to cook.
La comida es amor.
Every great city has great food. I'm going on a journey around the world, right here in St. Louis. I'm on a quest to find passionate chefs who cooks from the heart.
It's exciting.
And I think it's the best.
To prove that food is love.
And it's gonna be delicious. Food is love. Love your food.
St. Louis is positioned almost in the middle of things. It's called the Heartland, the Midwest. It's home to agriculture and barbecue, seemingly a world away from the West Coast, where decades ago, attitudes about meat were already changing. But it's no longer just the West Coast. In fact, St. Louis is home to the nation's first Center for Plant-Based Living, a plant-based nutrition and culinary education center run by Caryn Dugan, or STL Veg Girl, if you know her from Instagram. In need of some education myself, I'm here to understand the difference in vegan and vegetarian, and maybe getting some cooking ideas. I'm in Kirkwood. I'm going to a plant-based food instructor, if you will, today. It's very new to me, the whole vegetarian thing, because it's never really been on my radar. I'm open to anything. I just hope I'm not going to have any kale.
One of the things that always come to mind when I meet a vegan or a vegetarian, I mean, what would possibly make you say no to a big steak and then start eating vegetables only?
I can remember on Sundays, we had this little black and white TV in the kitchen, and my dad and I would fry up one of two things, bologna or Spam. And we had it on white bread with Velveeta with either ketchup or mustard. So such great memories. And do you think that I want to get rid of that? No way. There are people who come into this plant-based lifestyle because they've had a heart attack or they're trying to reverse their type 2 diabetes, and they're coming into it kicking and screaming. They don't want to give up their burgers or their brisket or their bacon or their cheese or whatever, but they do want to walk their little girl down the aisle, and they know that they're not going to be able to on the path in which they are traveling. They have to change what they're eating in order to reverse and truly treat the root cause of their disease. There's other people who come into this plant-based or vegan lifestyle. They're doing it for the animals because they don't want to wear the clothes, the fur, the wool, the leather, and they also care very much about the environment, right?
Yeah.
So there's the ethical vegans, and then there's the plant-based people who are doing it for health. So people also who come into this lifestyle, this vegan lifestyle, by way of, again, because of the animals and the environment, typically that is the group of people who will eat the Impossible Burger, the Beyond Meat burgers, the more processed foods. And listen, do whatever you want, but they're not going to reverse their type 2 diabetes, their heart disease, their hypertension. They're not going to lose weight. Their skin isn't going to clear up. All of these wonderful health benefits that you see happening very quickly if you stick with a plant-based, low to no oil, unprocessed diet.
I mean, what happened in your life that you wanted to go this route?
Fast forward, my dad was diagnosed with cancer and we lost him in 2008. And then 10 weeks after that, I was diagnosed with cancer.
Caryn's journey to finding her health led her to take another look at her diet. Research has pointed again and again to the benefits of a plant-based diet. And today, nobody can tell you more about these benefits than Caryn. Here in her shop, she hosts cooking classes, dinners, and films cooking demos for her audience.
People come in here and they're on fistfuls of medicines, right?
Yeah.
And because they've had type 2 diabetes for 20 years and this common chronic illnesses for years, and they start to see if they go full throttle, and I mean like fully whole food, plant-based, no oil, they see effects probably in about two weeks, which is pretty immediate. I'm on staff at a health immersion every year. We go down to Naples, Florida. It's a week-long thing. I'm the chef who presents. We have people who come, about 100 people, and they're very ill. They have to be accepted into this program. It's a week long, and about 2.5 days in, we start to see people just kind of get really dizzy and a lot of times pass out. It's because they are on such high doses of high blood pressure medications that when they've started to eat a whole food plant-based diet, they then become over-medicated because their body has started to heal in that less than 72-hour period.
Wow.
It's amazing. And I just have goosebumps just even thinking about it.
So, I mean, you can actually get yourself off of medicines with side effects and everything
Most
by
of them, yes.
eating healthy.
Most of them, yes. And if not off of them, then definitely titrate it down way, way down so that you're not feeling the horrible side effects. I mean, people come, they start insulin or they start metformin, and then there's side effects to that. So then they need medications to treat the side effects, and then they need medications to treat those side effects. And that's why you end up with all of these pills. Let's start introducing real food and start really healing your body tastefully and get off those pills.
All right, let's do some cooking.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna do a brunch this morning. I'm gonna have
I want
you to do a small chop on that.
Okay.
And so I don't use any oil in my cooking.
So you're telling me now no oil either? I mean, that's very interesting. Tell me what's wrong with oil?
Okay, so oil, you're right.
Because extra virgin olive oil.
Oh, I know.
I mean, how vegan does that sound?
Right. With oil, not only does it create inflammation in the body, and it really just wrecks that endothelial system or the endothelial cells. So for 1 tablespoon, teeny tiny, 120 calories, 100% fat, 14 grams of fat. So when we are sauteing food, right, we don't just go with the olive oil, we go So there's another 800,000 calories right there.
I use a lot of butter and a lot of cream.
I know you do.
It's fascinating that somebody would be opponent to all those things. So I need the education more than anybody.
Just put them right in there. So we don't want to sear the vegetables. You pull your temperature down to a cooking temperature, so a medium high, and then you get in there right away, just tossing them around. We're going to add a little bit of water. We're going to deglaze. And we're gonna add more flavor to those onions, and it's also cooled down the pan a little bit. So we're gonna make a tofu egg scramble, but without the egg.
Okay.
Okay. Tofu looks like it's highly processed. From bean to block, from soybean to block, it's only 3 steps. So you're essentially making soy milk and then scraping the top of the curds off, right?
Yeah.
And then pressing it into this block. That's all this is. Okay, so we want this to look like an egg scramble. Get in there with your hands.
And make an egg?
Make an egg.
Okay.
Scramble. So
just take it apart?
That's exactly right, yeah.
Okay.
You can just smush it with your hands, have a good time with it.
Okay.
And I'm gonna check on our onions real quickly, make sure they're coming along, and they are. Okay, then to this, I'm going to start adding some flavor, because we both know with tofu, it's all about the flavor.
Yeah.
This is coconut aminos, so we could use Bragg's aminos, we could use soy sauce, we can use shoyu, tamari, doesn't matter.
And you want me to squish that around?
Please do, yeah. So then, all of that into this pan. Cool.
When you stop learning, that's a big problem.
It is a big, yes.
And
you're absolutely right.
I visit a lot of chefs, and they're all starting to learn more about vegetables, how we cook with vegetables, and I'm kind of, I hate to say it, but I'm probably the old god, and I need to get with it too, so I can be vegetable hip like you.
Vegetable hip?
Yeah. Okay. So I want to get there with you.
You want to be a plant slinger?
Yeah.
Do you know how to make a creamy salad dressing without any oil?
No.
Would you like to know?
Yes, I would love to know.
Okay, good. You are hired.
Well, thank you.
On the payroll. On the payroll. So you can be on a plant-based diet, but you've got to really pull back on the fat in order to reverse a lot of these conditions. So we are not going to add any oil into this. I'm not a fat-free person. We do need fat. So I'm going to start with tahini. And you want to cut that fat with a little bit of citrus. Then you want to add a savory component. So we're back to our aminos. We want to add a sweetness. I love either date paste or maple syrup.
Okay.
And then also finally some kind of spice. Now you can open up your spice drawer and go crazy and dump it in there, but we'll just add garlic because I have it today. We'll get this going. And this is very thick dressing, which is good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Smells great.
Kind of looks like a Caesar dressing.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you've got your dressing. It doesn't matter what the dressing is, okay? Get in there, and I'm on my tippy toes. It's like a Swedish massage. What you want to do is really just break down those fibers in that kale and infuse all of that dressing. It becomes, I mean, it's tenderized. Get one of your guys.
And you get exercise at the same time.
Upper body, lower body.
It's perfect.
So we've broken down all of those rough fibers, and now, and it's heavy because it has all that dressing in it. So how about, you want to give it a try?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full disclosure for television, I have cooked many vegetable dishes in my life, but I don't personally care for kale, so I'm going to need a little persuading.
It's delicious.
See, would you serve that in your fine
would.
dining restaurant? That makes, no. This day is done. That makes me so happy, really.
Yeah, and I mean, now the bitterness is gone and you can actually enjoy it.
But what if you're plant-based and you don't like to cook? Are there options beside the salad? Caryn says yes. Oh wow, that's for me? That's for me?
Yeah, I'll tell you a story in a minute.
How cool is that?
I used to own a little painting business where I would whimsically paint furniture for people. And then for whatever reason I got onto this peppermill thing and I painted all the peppermills for Bandera's restaurant.
Yeah, I'm familiar
Probably,
with
yes.
Bandera's.
And then I painted all the peppermills at McGurk's and just did a lot of work for a lot of people around town. So I've been thinking about picking up the paintbrush again. 3 days ago, I found a peppermill maker and I got a couple mills in. And last night was up real late painting a couple mills.
No, it's so cool.
But
I love it.
I just wanted you to have it. So
Thank you.
you're very welcome.
It is super cool. Food is love. I love it.
Peacemaker.
Food is a peacemaker.
Yeah.
Food is love. I've been saying that for a long time. But the reason why, I wanted to do a vegetarian episode is for the same reason. I'm like, here comes this other vegetarian. God, I wish they would go down to this place, where they're specializing that. But by being introduced to somebody that is not only vegetarian but plant-based like you are, and you can actually explain to me, but it would never have been in my wheelhouse without getting to actually meet somebody who understands
Why you do it, here's how you
Yes.
do it. It's easy, I promise, it's tasty.
and that's exactly what happens. You pick a few things out and then you start using them, and all of a sudden it works, it's magic, and it becomes part of your fabric as a chef.
That's right.
I'm fortunate enough that I constantly meet new people, learn new things. Met a great guy, Munsuk, who owns a Korean restaurant on the Landing, and he said the same thing.
Oh, yes, I did watch that one.
Yeah, he said, everybody thinks Korean food is stinky because we eat kimchi, and I'd never paid any attention to kimchi, just like I haven't paid any attention to kale.
Yeah.
Now you see me, I'm making, kimchi on the fly. I'm making my own kimchi at home.
And you would never have done that.
I would never have done that had I not met Munsuk.
That's right.
Caryn's taken me to a restaurant that's completely plant-based, right here in St. Louis, and it's called Frida's. This is Natasha Kwan, owner of Frida's, and a good friend of Caryn's. And this is the black bean burger.
Yeah, that's the
Right.
black bean burger. You're getting a creamier sauce with that one.
And the fact that this is a standalone vegan restaurant says a lot about the St. Louis food scene. There isn't a better place to reflect on everything we learned today.
See the difference with her dressing, but it still works.
Mm-hmm.
And the kale is nice and soft. It's tenderized.
Yeah, not bitter.
Yeah, they're known for their kale salad.
Kale salad Frita burger taco. Ginger lemon soda, which I'll have to make you.
All of this is great, and I'm in total agreement with what Caryn and Natasha is doing. St. Louis is lucky to have such advocates for the plant-based community. Another big selling point for plant-based cooking is its sustainability. But what does that mean, and how does that affect the local food scene? To find out, I'm at Marshall Family Farms just outside of town, where Maria Marshall and family grow certified organic vegetables that they sell to restaurants in the city. And with the consumer embrace of plant-based eating, business on the farm is good.
What is CSA? What does that
So
mean?
CSA is Community Supported Agriculture. It's a program where basically a person can directly invest in a local agriculture. So basically they buy a share, usually in the off season when we're buying all of our seeds, our soil, all of our tools and supplies. And what is amazing about that is they're able to give the farmer the money when they need it the most, when they're buying all their supplies for the year. So our season is 20 weeks. So for 20 weeks you get a box of fresh seasonal vegetables that are, harvested
Every week?
Every week. So being able to cultivate that relationship with our community is so important to us, because I truly believe like the more connected that you are with your local environment and your local agriculture, the more apt you are to care about it, the more apt you are to want to take care of it, to conserve it. For chefs, it's important because as soon as you pick something, it starts degrading.
Yeah.
The flavors, the nutrients. I mean, I'm sure you've eaten a handful of walnuts and they taste bitter because they are not fresh. Those oils have spoiled. The same with food. The same with things like onions, kale. People are like, I hate kale because it's so bitter, and then they try our kale and they're like, oh wow, it's sweet. And I'm like, because it's fresh. I literally picked this 12 hours before you are now putting it in your mouth. People call kale like Midwestern palm trees because you really want to make sure that you take the leaf off at the stem.
Okay.
Or at the base of the stem.
So you leave some there, and it just keeps growing?
Yeah, so we usually only take about 3 leaves per,
Okay.
depending on the size, because you don't want to stress the plant out so much that it just dies. And
Oh, I
then-
see now. This is where it looks like a palm tree.
Yeah, see?
Oh, wow. I think I could be good at this.
You could be amazing.
You too?
It's hypnotic.
And that's all you do whenever you're prepping a bed. You don't want to flip the soil over. And so you do that on this side, maybe a little bit more on this side. Sink it in. And like I said, what it's doing is it's allowing there to be aeration. So it's being able to introduce that aeration, and then look at how easy the carrots come out.
Oh, wow.
See? And we do this with our garlic too. We love using hand tools like this because instead of using a tractor that is, 1,000 pounds and pushing down on that soil. Plus it sounds nice. I mean, we get to hear the birds, we get to hear nature. We're not hearing the thrum of engines.
That's an escargot.
Yeah, that's a hornworm.
This is beautiful. A family operation. Getting down in the dirt with fingers like they do here isn't the way that everybody does it, but maybe they should.
So this is a part of our sustainability journey. This is my 2nd generation of kale. So I've raised this kale. I've raised this kale twice. So basically these are the grandkids of the kale I bought from the store. And what's important about this is because we're raising them and they're actually healthy plants and we're not using all these chemicals, we're able to save the seeds from them, and those seeds are actually healthier, more vibrant, more nutrient dense, more acclimated to the local environment. A lot of seed companies aren't in the Midwest. They're on the either coast. And I'm sure because if you lived in the other coast, it's not the same weather as here. So being able to have plants that are not only grown locally, but raised locally, and they've been in the local environment for so long, it not only is more nutrient dense and more flavorful for you, but it's more sustainable for agriculture as a whole. A lot of places that do a lot of local produce really want to highlight that because it's such a different flavor. It's such a different texture.
A quick farm-to-table lunch is payment for a morning of work. Good enough for me. When you see where it comes from and the love and patience that goes into the soil here, it puts a whole new value on the vegetables on your plate.
Pretty much except for the lemon and the olive oil, everything you see here was grown on the farm. And this is a really big reason why we love doing our CSA, is because it's not just, you know, a bunch of random vegetables that we're giving people and they're just like, what are we doing? We give them ideas like the kale salad, the roasted veggies, and utilizing parts of, you know, vegetables that normally would just get thrown away. Like the tops for the carrots are in the green, like we have this herb sauce. It's related to a chimichurri, but it's pretty much just like a seasonal farm herb sauce. And we love using like fresh basil, parsley, a little bit of lemon balm, and then those green coriander seeds that are right there in our herb sauce. So that's another thing that we love to do here on the farm, for sure.
Beets. Beets are my favorite.
They are?
Yeah.
Awesome.
What color are you? What's your favorite color beet?
Well, any beet. Yeah.
So yeah, this is just a little fresh, and it's all vegetarian, all vegan. You know, just the breadcrumbs, olive oil, salt, pepper on everything, and then the herb sauce.
You just roasted all the vegetables in the oven? The hallmark of a good food scene is inclusion. Not just inclusion of food from other places, but inclusion of foods for people with different needs, goals, diets.
It's not about really having a fully vegetarian, vegan, plant-based, whatever word you want to use, restaurant. It's more about normal restaurants offering all of these beautiful dishes for everybody so that we can all sit around the table together.
So you're actually saying you're not angry at me because I like a big steak.
No, let's go to dinner together. What can I get? What can you get?
I love that.
Gone are the days of marginalizing certain tastes and catering to the masses. Whether it's Caryn teaching the next wave of plant-based eaters.
It's a huge feat for me to eat kale.
This I'm super excited about.
But this is delicious.
And this is the moment that I live for. You know, this is the reason I put up these four walls. You know, there's a couple of reasons. Number one is because I want to help create community and resources for people who are looking for this information. But it's also like just what you just did, just gets me so excited. People who have these preconceived notions of something that they don't like because of the way they had it when they were younger. And it just was not prepared well. And for you to turn around and enjoy it is super exciting.
Or Natasha curating a menu in her restaurant that is sensitive and creative and delicious all at the same time. Or Maria Marshall and family, waking up before the sun, enriching the soil with their own sweat and blood to supply the restaurants with clean, nutritious variety.
You know, you need that in the world. You need to have more love, and a great way to start with that is to start with something that you need every day, and that's food.
Food is love.
Food is love.
Yeah.
That also, it doesn't stop here. Then hopefully you'll go back to your own kitchen, which is what I want for people who come to classes. I want to give them that initial kitchen confidence to then go back to their own homes and recreate something. That's what it's about. It's not about leaning on me or this place too much. It's about coming in and finding inspiration from me or from you or from anyone and taking that home and sharing it with their own families.
I'm trying to bring together our two universes, plant-based universe, and bringing it into my room. I created this dish, and I'm not asking for permission. I'm asking for forgiveness to Caryn. I actually used bacon in here. After I tasted kale, I thought baking is such a great flavor with that. Goat cheese and bacon, there is baked in the oven, and it has a little Belgium endive, radish, microgreens, and then it has a kale foam that is made with apples, kale, and ginger. If you're curious and open-minded, there's always something new to learn. And if you pay close attention, it's easy to see all the different ways that food is love.